We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. The judgment of the intellect is only part of the truth. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Only the wounded physician heals. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. We apprehend it just as much by feeling. Therefore, the judgment of the intellect is, at best, only the half of truth and must, if it be honest, also come to an understanding of its inadequacy. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Great talents are the most lovely, and often the most dangerous fruits on the tree of humanity. They hang upon the most slender twigs that are easily snapped off. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. The rational attitude, which permits us to declare objective values as valid at all, is not the work of the individual subject, but the product of human history. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children, than the unlived life of the parent. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. Creative powers can just as easily turn out to be destructive. It rests solely with the moral personality. Whether they apply themselves to good things or to bad, and if this is lacking, no teacher can supply it or take its place. That which compels us to create a substitute for ourselves is not the external lack of objects, but our incapacity to lovingly include a thing outside of ourselves. A special ability means a heavy expenditure of energy in a particular direction with a consequent drain from some other side of life. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. We apprehend it just as much by feeling. Therefore, the judgment of the intellect is, at best, only the half of truth and must, if it be honest, also come to an understanding of its inadequacy. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. I regret many follies which sprang from my obstinacy, but without that trait I would not have reached my goal. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. The acceptance of oneself is the essence of the whole moral problem and the epitome of a whole outlook on life. Find out what a person fears most, and that is where he will develop next. The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. There are as many nights as days, and the one is just as long as the other in the year's course. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. Nobody can fall so low unless he has a great depth. If such a thing can happen to a man, it challenges his best and highest on the other side. That is to say, this depth corresponds to a potential height, and the blackest darkness to a hidden light. Nobody, as long as he moves about among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth, and if a man does not know what a thing is, it is at least an increase in knowledge if he knows what it is not.